Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I really hope you're all doing well and having a great day. Katie McGrath's Morgana is a fan-favorite character from Merlin, having the most dynamic and interesting arc on the show. Morgana is portrayed as going from the most loving and supportive character to the most ruthless one, becoming Camelot's greatest enemy. While characters like Merlin and Mordred address Morgana's supposed to change to a dark, heartless villain, Morgana and those around her see that her loving side is still there. Morgana's love just transferred from her family to the magical community, which she views as her people due to her position as a high priestess. Looking at it this way, Morgana never went dark at all, she just did what she had to do to protect an oppressed group in her society.
Why are you so loyal to Arthur?
I don't expect you to understand, Morgana. You have no sense of duty, no sense of loyalty.
You're wrong. Don't think I don't understand loyalty just because I've got no one left to be loyal to.
This quote comes in response to Merlin saying Morgana has no sense of duty or loyalty. She takes offense to this, explaining that she still understands loyalty, even if she has no individuals to be loyal to. She also understands duty, as she feels protecting the magical community by becoming queen is her duty. This is the heart of the issue concerning whether or not Morgana is good. Fans watch the show from Merlin's point of view, where it seems as though Morgana flipped a switch and became evil. Looking at her perspective, the court of Camelot repeatedly betrayed her, destroying the loyalty she had to them and opening her up to start her quest for power.
You don't know what it's like to be an outsider. To be ashamed of how you were born, to have to hide who you are. Do you think I deserve to be executed because of who I am?
Morgana's turn from Camelot didn't come out of anywhere. Instead, it came from repeatedly being made to feel ashamed for having magic by her own family. Uther pushed the narrative that those with magic were innately bad and wrong, a message that Morgana heard often enough for it to sink in. Even before she knew she had abilities, Morgana knew that was wrong, but once she discovered her magic, Morgana was forced to put that shame on herself to continue living in Camelot.
Every day I must look Uther in the eye, knowing that if he were to discover who I really am, he'd have me killed.
In addition to the shame Uther trained into Morgana that magic users should have, there was a reason for Morgana to fear for her life. Morgana saw regularly that sorcerers were imprisoned and killed just for who they were, whether or not they had done anything wrong. Morgana herself was poisoned by Merlin. Not only did Morgana have reason to believe she would be killed for being her true self, but she had proof that it would happen.
Every day I must look Uther in the eye, knowing that if he were to discover who I really am, he'd have me killed.
Her love for that creature caused her to suffer more than she ever imagined possible.
For those who argue that once Morgana left Camelot, she lost her loving side, the obvious counterexample was Aithusa, the dragon that Morgana was tortured for. Morgana was captured and tortured alongside the dragon, but her love for Aithusa wouldn't let her leave without the dragon by her side. This resulted in Morgana suffering even greater pains, because she was hurt by both her suffering and Aithusa's. She endured true pain for Aithusa, and there is no way to describe that encounter except as loving and selfless.
You You have blood on your hands, Uther Pendragon. Blood that will never wash off.
May I remind you that you're speaking to your king? You speak treason, Morgana.
Only a madman hears the truth as treason.
Take care, child, or I'll have you restrained.
You just try.
While she was still a part of the court of Camelot, Morgana frequently spoke up against Uther when he was doing something she felt was immoral. This quote came when one of those attempts was met with a threatened charge of treason. Morgana only ever wanted to protect innocent people. Watching them be persecuted all of her life and getting violent pushback every time she tried to talk Uther to a more tolerant place no doubt influenced her decision to work against Uther, since she had no way of getting through to him with her words.
It doesn't have to be like this. We can find another way.
There is no other way.
Merlin always saw the way to a more tolerant Camelot as a matter of waiting for Arthur to become king and then gradually changing things. Because of this, he was always opposed to Morgana taking more extreme actions. However, Morgana didn't have any other options. She had tried talking to both Uther and Arthur, and rarely got the slightest hint of sympathy for the innocents being hurt. Seeing this, and having no political power of her own during their reigns, Morgana had no choice but to attempt to take the kingdom for her own, so that she could change the laws and make a place for magic users to thrive once more.
You can't blame me for my father's sins.
It's a little late for that. You've made it perfectly clear how you feel about me and my kind.
Many fans view Morgana as being evil not because she fought against Uther, but because she fought against Arthur, who audiences have seen as good through Merlin's point of view. However, Arthur was not just passive during his father's time. He also actively harmed magic users through his reign, barely considering a world where things could be different. Arthur was raised to believe magic was evil, and despite Merlin's hopes, he saw having magic as a keen betrayal, which meant Morgana had no choice but to work against him if she wanted to see a version of Camelot that was welcoming to her people.
Magic has no place in Camelot, it never will. Not until I take the throne. Please spare me. I only want what is rightfully mine.
Morgana learned early on that Emrys would be her downfall, but when it came down to a fight, she acknowledged his power over her and pled with him to help the magical community by sparing her. As she says, magic is illegal in Camelot and will not be welcomed unless she becomes queen. Thus, it is clear that she doesn't want the throne for the sake of power. She wants it so that she can make a better world for her people. She makes this plea to Emrys in particular because she knows that he has seen Camelot's approach to magic firsthand and hopes he will see things her way.
You who have persecuted his kind day after day, year after year.
I will hear no more of this, Morgana.
Because you're an arrogant fool. You were deaf and blind to the very needs of the people you profess to serve and protect. The people will tolerate it no longer.
I said enough!
They are rising up against you! From this day forward, I do not know you. From this day forward, I disown you.
You will go to your chambers!
And you, Uther, you will go to hell.
When Morgana took power, she was very clear in explaining why she did it. Despite the view that she had gone crazy or that she was power-hungry, Morgana explains to the Pendragons that she sees herself as the people's queen. She does what she does to give them a voice and to bring them to a better world, where magic is used freely and openly, not persecuted for its very existence. As magic is consistently a metaphor for oppressed peoples, It is hard to believe so many people see a liberator figure as evil, rather than as a progressive leader.
Sometimes you've got to do what you think is right, and damn the consequences.
You think I should go?
Doesn't matter what I think.
If I don't make it back, who'll be the next king of Camelot? There's more than just my life at stake.
And what kind of king would Camelot want? One that would risk his life to save that of a lowly servant? Or one who does what his father tells him to?
Morgana's values have stayed the same throughout the show, and are summed up perfectly in the advice she gives to Arthur on how to be a good leader. Many viewers see her as a changed figure by the end of the show, but in fact, she just took her advice. There were a great many consequences for Morgana and the people of Camelot, but Morgana was doing everything in her power to do what she thought was right, which is in line with her values throughout the show and should be admirable to the show's fan. In my view, Morgana's shift towards a darker path can be understood by considering her challenging history with Uther. In the beginning, she displayed genuine care for Arthur and her friends. However, over time, her feelings seemed to shift from "if anything happens to Arthur, I will find you" to "I want him dead." It's my belief that Arthur could have shown more understanding towards Morgana's struggles, which might have prevented her descent into darkness. Remember the saying, don't ignore the effort of a person who tries to keep in touch. It's not all the time someone cares. While Merlin had Gaius as his support, Morgana had not anyone by her side, leaving her feeling isolated. It's important to clarify that her actions as an antagonist can't be justified, but it's possible she's a complex character who, with different circumstances, could have been saved from her tragic fate. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. If you followed the series up until now, consider subscribing and hit the notification bell for more content.